Herzlich willkommen zum ProfiFoto Podcast der Ausgabe 4.15. Wir zeigen auch dieses Mal wieder beeindruckende Bildstrecken vom Sony World Photography Award, vom Canon ProfiFoto Förderpreisgewinner Christoph Krenz und das neue Ausstellungsprojekt von Viviane Sassen, die das dazugehörige Konzept im Interview selbst erklärt.
My name is Viviane Sassen. I'm from Amsterdam and the title of the exhibition is Pikin, Slee. So I was very happy when the ICA asked me to do this show and to work on this together. I think in the beginning I thought that it would be interesting to make an installation which was more than just photographs. So I think the architectural structure we used kind of informed also the formal aspects and the sculptural aspects of the work. Pikin, Slee is a village in Suriname. It's the second largest village on the upper Suriname River, and it has like 4,000 inhabitants. Pikin, Slee was actually founded by people who call themselves a Maroon. It's basically people who've worked as slaves on the Dutch plantations back in the days and escaped from slavery. They fled into the woods and into the forest, in the rainforest. They made these settlements, and Pikin, Slee is one of those settlements, and it's still very traditional in the sense that there's no running water, there's hardly any electricity, there's no roads, of course, because it's just in the middle of the rainforest. I think somehow Pikin, Slee reminded me of villages from my youth when I lived in Kenya. Those villages were also very kind of simple in the way that there was no electricity and no running water, of course no internet, etc. So quite secluded, and somehow this village here reminded me of those villages that I knew from my childhood. The structure of the village is a very special structure. You have like one kapitein, like a captain, who is the head of the village, and then there are a few other captains, and they have basia. So that's basically how the village is structured. So then we visited the head captain of the village, and I basically asked him for permission to do my project there. And then when he gave me the permission, then it was fine, and so he kind of spread the word. So everybody was informed. When I was in Suriname for the first time, I was actually working on my book In and Out of Fashion, which is a large survey of my fashion work of the last 17 years. And so this was quite a long process, and I kind of got bored of all these fashion pictures after a while, because they are kind of little explosions of ideas and colors, and of course they're very energetic, etc. But somehow I was a bit fed up with them. So when I visited Pikin, Slee, and I was so taken by the beauty and the people and the culture, etc. And I decided I wanted to just simply look at things and not stage anything. I don't see it as a reportage of the village, though, because the work is much more about creating kind of sculptures. I longed for this kind of more simple way of looking, and to basically reset the eye. So I did a lot of black and white photographs, focusing on the everyday.
Der Technikteil der ProfiFoto 4.15 umfasst die Testberichte zur Samsung NX1 und zur Sony Alpha 7 II, sowie die Neuvorstellung der Nikon 7200. Außerdem gibt es einen exklusiven Blick auf die kreativen Möglichkeiten des B2 Off-Camera Flash. Das Kreativpotenzial des B2 zeigt das folgende Video, ein Zusammenschnitt aus 18 Videos, in denen 18 Fotografen mit dem B2 ihr ganz persönliches Licht gestalten. Immer höher auflösende Kameras verlangen auch entsprechend ausgelegte Objektive. Das ProfiFoto Spezial 143, das Heft im Heft, beschäftigt sich daher mit dem Thema High-End-Objektive und stellt mit dem Trust Your Eyes Objektivvergleich ein neues Testverfahren der ProfiFoto vor. Eine Kamera, die höchste Anforderungen an Objektive stellt, ist die Canon EOS 5DS, die Canon Explorer David Norton mit auf Tour genommen hat.
Hello, I'm David Norton. I'm a Canon Explorer and a landscape photographer. Behind me is Tabletop Mountain in South Africa. Famous view, and I'm here for 10 days to try out a brand new camera. This is a pre-production model of the brand new Canon 5DS, and I've been given the opportunity of being the first landscape photographer in the world to try it out. Really, the whole point of the shoot was to show the capabilities of the new Canon EOS 5DS, in particular in a landscape environment. That is my specialization, and so it was a tremendous privilege to be given this opportunity to go to South Africa and produce a set of pictures which shows the capabilities and the quality available from this new camera. I was intrigued. I had an open mind. For 3 years I've been using the 5DS's stablemate, the 5D Mark III, and I've become very, very familiar with the capabilities of that camera. This camera is very similar to the 5D Mark III, apart from one crucial aspect. It's got a 50 megapixel high-resolution sensor. So now is an opportunity to see what this huge sensor, not in physical size, but in terms of pixel count, this 50 megapixel sensor in the 5DS was capable of. The first thing you notice is, as soon as you zoom in, the level of detail there is absolutely incredible. Absolutely phenomenal. If I enlarge one of these images from the shoot here up to 100%, I'm looking at a tiny section of that image, and yet it's absolutely razor sharp. The more you enlarge the picture, the more you see that level of detail. For my landscape work, I particularly like using these Canon tilt and shift lenses. I found them really good tools for landscape work. I can use the perspective control to keep strong verticals in the frame absolutely parallel with the side of the frame, and the ability to achieve this kind of depth of field that I've got in this shot here by just using a little bit of the tilt function to give me that depth of field rather than stopping down to minimum aperture really enables me to use the lens at its real mid-range aperture sweet spot, and that's why in tandem with the 5DS this incredible quality is achievable. I have to say that the monitor on the back of this camera is beautiful. It's big, it gives this really luscious, bright image of what I'm shooting. It enhances actually the moment of being there at the time, seeing that glowing image on the back of the camera. And I think that is something that Canon really has over its rivals, the quality of the display on the monitor. On top of that, we've got all the information that we need in various other displays, particularly the brightness histogram, the RGB histogram, highlight alerts. All of those things are aids to help us obtain the optimum exposure. And of course, we can zoom in on live view just to check our focus point, check our depth of field. My road to the Damascus moment came actually when I was back in my office back in Dorset and I was processing the images. Now, as I was shooting, of course, out in South Africa, I'd back them up onto my laptop every day and have a quick look at the results. But it really wasn't until I came to edit the pictures on my big screen back at base and start really looking into the raw images that I really realized what quality was there. That was quite an eye-opener. This shot here of Pool Bay, late afternoon, early evening, beautiful light sidelighting the scene and big waves crashing in on the headland here. I love the simplicity of this shot. I think the best shots are always the simplest. I like the compositional lines. You've got this very strong diagonal of the wave coming in on the headland here. I've opted with this particular picture to keep a shutter speed that's slow enough at about a second to express some of the motion of the wave, but it's not so slow that the water motion all just fudges into a sort of milky blur. If you zoom in large and look at it, it's got a lovely feel to it. There's energy there, there's motion and incredible clarity as well. And of course the really nice color contrast between the warmth of the light on the orangish rocks there and the bluey green in the water there. When I heard about this camera from Canon, I did question just how many pixels we need. I have to say I was skeptical. Do we really need 50 megapixels? And I thought that this super high resolution sensor was overkill. But the proof is in the pudding, and you look at these images up big and there's really no arguing with that. In the past, all we photographers have always had to make this informed decision about how we balance ultimate quality versus the portability of our systems. And for landscape photographers, we have to be able to move over the landscape. The more flexible and the more mobile I am as a photographer, the better the pictures will be. I've always shied away from using large format cameras purely because they are so inflexible, so bulky, so slow. I've used medium format, but now I have to say that the quality that this EOS 5DS is producing is comparable to what I would associate not with medium format, but with large format photography. Ally that with the complete range of the lenses available in the Canon system, then we've got this real nirvana where we have the ability to create quality previously only associated with large format photography, and yet still have this flexibility and portability. And that really is something that changes everything. It will change the way I think about my work and the way I approach it. With this super high resolution camera, I can get amazing quality in a portable DSLR. It's a real liberation.
Soweit der Podcast zur ProfiFoto 4.15. Wer immer auf dem Laufenden bleiben möchte, der erhält über ProfiFoto Online, den ProfiFoto Newsletter oder die ProfiFoto News App täglich topaktuelle Infos aus der Fotoszene.